Yes, my people, wait man telling me. So this is the 1 hour chart, and trade of the week happened to be on gold. So when I'm looking at my charts, we can see price has taken out this high. We have also taken out this high. So we're also above the SMA 200. So I am now looking for a trade from this low to this high, and we do tap the 618. We do have a SBS based off our 1 hour time frame. Yes, we have tapped into an area of interest, and I believe we also have a RSI. So just this by itself is almost I mean, it is a A-star shot in terms of what we always look for. And if you want to take a trade based off the 1 hour chart, where you might wait for a trendline break, you might wait for maybe an SBS combo, and then you look for a trade higher. And I mean, in terms of entries, this is a IB. So now if you're targeting whatever, you've been tagged in, stop below that low, and then obviously now you could take the trade. But obviously this is the 1 hour chart. So when we go down to our 5 minute, let me just clear my charts. We can see that price is actually below the SMAs. So if I want to take a trade higher, I have to wait for price to flip. I can't now just try and force the trade. You know, the SMA telling me that price is bearish, and if I'm looking at things from a structural point of view, we made a high, we made a low, we made a lower high, lower low, lower high, fell to make a new lower low. So that's the first indication that price has internally flipped. However, I understand that price realistically has to take out this high before I can do anything else based off my 5 minute chart, and I'll have to wait for price to get above the SMA. When I went down to my 1 minute, we can actually see how technically we are trading from this 1 hour this 5 minute protected high and this 5 minute weak low. So right now we're within internal structure. So when you're able to understand where you are within price, it's easy to understand. Not easy, but it is much more simple to identify how you're gonna frame your day. So in this case here, this was an internal flip. This was the confirmed flip, and you can see we have SBS within here, where potentially this is your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of course, it's not ideal. However, for me anyways, I wouldn't have taken a trade, but we can see how we have created a nice double bottom, and obviously price has now continued higher. Again, I wouldn't have taken a trade. I'll just wait for price to take out this high here, and now that we've taken out this high, I can start looking for potential longs. So if we just let price play out, okay, so sometimes you're gonna have SBS model 1 from here, and then from here, if I just let price play out, okay, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Price has tapped the 200 SMA. Price has tapped into a area of interest, which is my S&D. So now there's always a chance that what price is gonna potentially want to continue higher. So if I'm looking for my last down candle, we don't quite get it, but we do have this IB here. Where now I can enter off a stop, buy stop, and target whatever it may be. Let's just say 2R. stop at the low, take profit at the high, and if we just let price play out. Okay, so we can see that essentially SBS model 1 does work here, but if you actually wanted to use the actual zone, then this is the zone from here. This is the S&D that price tapped, and obviously price pushed on higher. If I take out my fib from this low to this high, we don't quite tap the 618, but we do at least tap the 50%. So price is cheap enough for us to look for potential longs. And let's see, you did miss this. Price ended up doing what? Taking out these highs. So now if you're looking for a trade higher, you can. And then in this case here, I mean, this is now your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is SBS model 1 actually. This is SBS model 1. And now if you want to take a trade higher from here, you can. And you can see how price takes out these highs as well. And we can see how, let me just go back to the 5 minute. So remember how I said on the 5 minute, essentially I need for price to take out this protected high based on my 5 minute, because right now we was trading the internal structure. We can see that price was making high highs and higher lows. We have now actually flipped from here. So now if I want to take a trade from this zone, I can, but also I can wait for a confirmed flip. So price pulls back very faintly, where this is now your 1, this is now your 2, this is now your 3, 4, 5. And then from here, obviously price pushes on up. So you can even say here, this is potentially SBS model 1. You can even see how price tapped into this area of interest, this S&D. And you can see from this S&D, we rejected off the 200 SMA nicely. We also had RSI. Let me just double check. Yeah, so we also had RSI, where this gave us a higher low, but this gave us a lower low. So you can already see the divergence from there. And again, like if you're looking for another trade, you now have another MSB here. And if you let price play out, I feel like this is more like a market recap, but it's cool. And even here, we end up doing what? Taking out these highs. So even if you're potentially, you didn't like how price was moving, you waited for price to flip, so that was your internal structure, and then internally price flipped again. So now, but we've already taken out the high, so now you can look for a trade from potentially this area here, and hopefully price pushes up. And you can see how price keeps moving up. So now this is your 1, this is your 2, this is your 3, wait for 4, 5. But you can see how just over the course, if I go back to my 1 hour chart, and I clear things up. So remember how we had this previous zone from here, where we had our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where we tapped into this move here. And you can see if I drop my fib from this low to this high, you can clearly see we tapped the 618, and price has now taken out our previous high, giving you a 1.6R fixed. So how could Wednesday not be trade of the week? Wednesday was one of the best days I've seen in terms of price action, and there were so many chances for you to get in. So whether you missed a move, whether price ran without you, it didn't really matter, because there was always a continuation in where you could have got in. And again, like if you don't like using a 1 minute, you could have gone up to your 5 minute. And you can see from your 5 minute, this was the initial flip. This was the confirmed flip, but you can see how from your price continues higher. So how can this not be trade of the week? I mean, it's multiple trades. So yeah, so again, I feel like this is more like a breakdown instead of a specific trade, but it is what it is. Always remember that victory belongs to the most tenacious, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.